the top 10 reasons not to move to Thailand. So I wanted to do this video to offer, I guess, a counter perspective to all of my videos that are so positive about Thailand, and give you guys some things that might not sit well with people. And these are according to Google and like Reddit, top 10 reasons why you shouldn't move to Thailand. So these aren't my personal opinions. As you guys know, I love Thailand. And I can say, guys, after being in the US, back in the US for a month visiting family and getting ready to head back overseas, it gave me more of appreciation for Thailand and my lifestyle I have over there, being back here. So, and from this posting of this video, I'm literally headed back overseas in a few days. I'm so excited. It was great to see my family, but I'm ready to be back home in Thailand. So let's start with number one on the list is visa challenges, which this one is definitely something of topic that should be talked about, because obviously a lot of foreigners, we do struggle with finding ways to stay in Thailand long term outside of things like their elite visa, which can cost thousands of dollars. I believe the elite visa starts at a minimum of $15,000, and so everyone coming overseas to Thailand might not have that to be able to just come out of pocket and buy the elite visa. So what other options do you have for more of a long-term stay? So I've talked about this in other videos, but for the visa situation, obviously if you're over the age of, I believe, 50, you can qualify for the retirement visa. And I do recommend dealing with agencies, reliable ones, so read reviews when it comes to getting your visa, because they're going to be able to handle a lot of paperwork for you. They have people on the inside, so they're able to get through the system in a way that me and you can't get through. Not saying you can't do these things on your own, but if you want to eliminate headache, you don't mind paying a few extra bucks, then I would definitely deal with an agency and not have to do it yourself, and you'll have a million questions. So deal with an agency. So retirement visa, if you're over the age of 50, and if you're under the age of 50, the average person is doing things such as education visas or student visas to be able to stay in Thailand for a year, and then it is renewable. Now, outside of that, you also have like a work permit. So this would be obviously if you land a job with a Thai company, or if you come to Thailand and you launch your own company there, then you can qualify for that, which would then allow you to stay in Thailand as long as that business is still up and running. So those are kind of the basic solutions for staying in Thailand on a more long-term basis. Outside of that, right now, recently Thailand did announce that they're offering 60 days upon the regular stamp versus the 30. But Thailand does change their mind a lot, so we don't know how long that will last. But right now, as a foreigner from a lot of different countries, I'm not sure the full list, you can look it up for yourself, but I know Americans and UK and a lot of other countries can get in for literally 60 days, and then I believe you still get the extension for 30 days if you apply. So right now, if you come to Thailand, you can get about 90 days without having a visa at all. So that is a pretty good situation to be in. But like I said, if you want to stay in Thailand long term, then you're going to look at some of the options I mentioned previously. Number two on the list is language barrier. So I guess this could be an issue. I will say it hasn't been much of an issue for me, because the areas I've lived in areas like Chiang Mai, Phuket, Pattaya, and Bangkok. And the areas I've lived in, people spoke enough English so I can get by. And when that wasn't the case, I had the translation app to be able to pull it out, like Google Translate, and sort of get an understanding of what they're trying to say. But attached to that, what I will say is that the language barrier, I see that as a learning opportunity to literally learn a new language and challenge yourself. So for me, I'm taking on the challenge of trying to learn Thai, because it's somewhere, like I said, I do love living in Thailand. So I feel like out of respect, on a basic level, it's just learning the language so you can communicate with people. And so my my Thai language levels at a very low, like I can get by basic. So I know the basic things. So I know how to count. I know obviously greetings and directions and certain food items and different things. So I have like almost like a toddler's vocabulary understanding about Thai. It is a difficult language to learn because with Thai, unlike English, there's tones. So if you say certain things in the wrong tone, it means something completely different. Like for example, if I'm saying like kun soy mak, I would say like, oh, you are very beautiful, and that's when the soy goes like soy goes up. But if I just say kun soy mak, that means like you are very unlucky. I believe I said that and told you guys that correctly. But so one word can sound the exact same to the English ear, but it can mean two different things. So pronunciation is very big in Thai, in tonality, and so you have to, those inflections or inflections. I don't know the right word. Inflections when you are talking. So that's important. But yeah, so language barrier could be an issue, especially if you want to live outside of the main touristy areas. Then pretty much, you might be in an area where people do not speak English. But like I said, to overcome that, learn the language. But in the short term, you do have technology now, so it's a lot easier. Unlike the past, we can just pull out our phones and translate and pretty much know what people are saying, even though it doesn't always translate 100%. But I don't see, for me, like I said, I don't see language barrier as a big enough reason to not move to Thailand. Number 3 on the list is traffic and safety. Yeah, traffic can be an issue, especially in areas like Bangkok, and but safety, as far as like just, are you safe? Are people going to mess with you and bother you? I haven't felt that as an issue at all. Of course, don't get me wrong, issues and things do happen in Thailand. I'm not going to come in here and make it seem like it's some type of super safe place. Yes, crime does happen. Yes, you know, bad things happen. But I would say for the average foreigner who is minding their business and staying out of trouble, staying out of harm's way, and what I mean by that is, like, you know, using good judgment and staying away from people who seem shady and don't be doing shady business. I have noticed, in my opinion, that a lot of people who end up, you know, things happen to them, like kind of like the craziest scenarios, I feel like they're involved in more of like, you know, kind of like the underground criminal world, or doing things that they aren't supposed to be. And so that is an issue. And I would also say for foreigners who come to Thailand and then start problems with Thais, that is a very ignorant thing to do. You know, you're just asking for problems. So, you know, I would say safety is not really a concern as long as you know, go to Thailand and, you know, operate like you have some sense and operate with respect their culture, respect their people. Safety in that aspect is not a concern. Now, you do have traffic safety. So I mean, like if you are riding on the back of motorbikes or riding motorbikes on your own, do practice like road safety in that sense, because there are a lot of people who definitely, I know some people personally who have, you know, rode the motorbikes and gotten, you know, injured, or and people who've even gotten killed. Because the one thing I will say about road safety in Thailand is that an issue that could definitely be improved on, because you will see that, like, especially motorbikes, there really aren't any rules. They'll drive on the sidewalk, they'll drive opposite of traffic. So if you're going to ride a motorbike, be very aware and very aware of your surroundings and whatnot. And even riding on the back of a motorbike, learn a few Thai words to tell the drivers, like, hey, can you drive safely? Can you slow down? Because sometimes they do drive very fast and like they don't have any care in the world. And that is an issue I've definitely faced at times, where some people just seem like they're driving recklessly. So I will say, definitely use caution and good judgment when it comes to riding those motorbikes, whether a passenger or a driver. I have noticed a lot of foreigners, especially from other countries like outside of America. Like I've seen, I don't want to even get specific, but I've seen certain people from certain countries drive like they have second lives and just come to a different country and just act like they have no sense. And I think that's completely ignorant. So do not be that person that comes to Thailand, rents a motorbike, and then acts like they, you know, like they're God or something. Don't do that. Don't be stupid. Next, people are going to talk about the healthcare system. In my opinion, I've actually been to the hospital one time since being in Thailand. And that's because when I hurt my Achilles playing basketball, I had to go. And so I went to the ER. I'll give you guys a quick little story. I went to the ER and got checked out. I went and got an x-ray, consulted with the doctor, and they gave me medicine and wrapped my ankle. And you guys want to know what the hospital bill was out of pocket? $50. It was like $50, $55. I was so surprised. Out of pocket. Medicine, x-ray, consulting with the doctor, and wrapping my leg up was only $55. Now, to give you guys a comparison, once I got back to the US, my parents wanted me to go to the doctor again to get like checked out. I went to the hospital here in the US. I went to the ER. And you guys want to know? I sat in the ER for probably about 2 hours. Then the doctor only seen me for like 3 minutes. You guys want to know what the hospital bill was? $800. No medicine, no x-ray, no nothing. A doctor come in and talked to me, felt my foot for like 3 minutes, and then told me, referred me out to somewhere else. And my bill was $800. Literally, basically, for nothing. So, you want to talk about healthcare? There you guys go. Out of pocket, $800, $55. Which one do you want? So I will say, obviously, it's important in Thailand. Do your research and, you know, and find, you know, and do have insurance when it comes to that, because you never know. Especially, I would say at the minimum, have emergency medical insurance for in the event that you know, an accident happens or something like that. Do have insurance. For the average travelers, I will recommend, like, you know, Safety Ring, but there are a lot of other companies you can use for your insurance. And then there are especially options for, if you're going to be living in Thailand, definitely do your research more to find more of an insurance that covers like general hospital visits, you know, for or checkups and whatnot. So if I may share a link to some in the description. I'm not affiliated, so I'm not getting paid for that. But I will point you guys in some directions, so some insurance options you can look at. But I would say overall, though, like healthcare is I haven't seen it to be that bad, but it all depends on the hospitals you do choose to go to. So One of my pieces of advice, if you want to move to Thailand, is join Facebook groups and also make friends with people who've been living in Thailand for like 10 plus years and who really know the inside scoop. Obviously, people like me and others who have only been in 2 years, we can give you our tips, but a lot of us are also younger. And so I know you guys who are moving into Thailand and thinking about Thailand from a more of a longer term perspective are older. So it is important to also, make friends with older people because there's, like I said, if they've been there longer, typically they will have the information you need. They'll have more information, knowledge on healthcare because that's more essential for people in that age range than someone like me. We're not really thinking about it as much as someone who's come to Thailand and they're 65 plus years old and where, healthcare is a lot more of a concern at that time. But from my perspective, like I said, I had a hospital visit. It was good. The doctors there, in Thailand, to my experience, have been knowledgeable. And even getting into dental care, my braces are done in Thailand. I pay 1,500 baht a month per adjustment, so that comes out to about $45 US to get braces. And obviously the smile is given now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm very super excited about my progress so far. Like before I moved to Thailand, I had invisible aligners through Smile Direct Club. And I made progress, but like I wasn't wearing them enough. The liners sometimes wouldn't fit. They would break. I would lose them. So I knew I wanted to get braces. And so shout out to Thailand. And specifically, shout out to Dental Image Clinic in Phaya Thai. Hey, they got me right. So if you guys need a dentist, that's who I recommend. Go to them. I'm not getting paid for this once again, but that's who I go to. So I'll recommend you guys there as well. The next thing is property ownership and higher cost around different, whether it comes to property or investments. Of course, yes, typically, depending on who you go through, even when it comes to purchasing a property, whether it's a condo or trying to buy like a home. Now, what we'll talk about this first is that foreigners cannot own land in Thailand or own homes. There are loopholes around it, there are legal loopholes, let me specify, when it comes to property ownership. Like, for example, Americans, specifically, there's some type of treaty or agreement that America has with Thailand, and we can own companies, a majority of companies, or even companies 100% outright. Do your research, talk to a good lawyer if it comes to that, but you can go look it up for yourself and verify it. But we can have majority ownership, and so that would outweigh, even if you did have a Thai in your company, you could be majority, so they wouldn't have a say without you making the decision. And then through the company, a company can own land. Or can even lease land from the company. So there's options there's ways around it. I'm not an expert, so don't quote me on any of this stuff. Really go do your own research. I'm literally just a YouTuber. I'm a content creator just like everyone else. So I know you guys do your research with YouTube, but don't stop here. We're just literally we're giving you guys information. Go do your research. Don't use YouTube as your sole source of information, right? Because some things we could be wrong on, or you might misunderstand what we're saying. With that also being said, is when it does come to property and different things that are advertised to foreigners, of course, yes, they're usually advertised at a higher cost than what a local would pay, and that's just life, guys. It's just reality. That's honestly, in my opinion, no different than a family discount, friends family discount. Like when it's your own people, of course, you're gonna give them the best rate in business. Now, some people might say, okay, that's unfair, whatever. But at the end of the day, guys, it's not our country, not our rules. If you don't like it, stay home. My opinion, I'm saying you can't really fight it. You don't have any rights, and it is what it is. And it's not something I'm complaining about. It's just reality. Now, like I said, there are ways to get around this type of stuff. If you can find a Thai person you trust, or if you're a man and you marry a woman, still be careful with that, because me personally, if I was to get married in Thailand and wanted to buy a property, I would want to be very sure that I could trust the woman that I'm entering into a relationship with. But even still, then even if you trust someone, still put in barriers that makes it harder for them to be dishonest, right? Because I've seen so many foreigners or heard stories about people who have been married for a long time, or even get married really quickly, think they fall in love, and then end up getting scammed. They purchase a home with their cash, but then it's under a Thai person's name, and then that Thai person just runs off on them, and now they're just left with their pants unzipped. And I'm not saying this to say don't trust Thai people, because that's not what I'm saying at all. Overall, Thai people are very trustworthy. But like anywhere you go, don't be ignorant. There are bad apples everywhere you go, and Thailand is no exclusion of that. So basically, I'm just saying, don't be stupid. Don't be ignorant, you know what I'm saying? And talk to people, talk to smart people, talk to the right people, talk to lawyers, and just don't do anything where you just put yourself in a bad predicament. So, like I said, when it comes to business in any aspect, that's even here in America, right? That's not to say that you can't get scammed here in America. That happens anywhere you go in the world. So it's no different in Thailand as it would be here in America or wherever you're watching from. The bottom line is don't be stupid when it comes to these things. But yeah, so people do have a problem with the fact that they can't own land and property outright. You can't own condos 100%, but when it comes to like homes, it's a little bit more like complex. And then, like I said, land you cannot own. But to that, I say I don't really see a problem with that, because the way I see it is Thailand is considered, a third world country. A lot of people are making lower wages. I think it's good for them to protect themselves in their country, because that is honestly how you get your country taken from you. Is people come into your country with their money, their big bags of money, waving it around, thinking that they're God, and then before you know it, you're living. There'll be a country where the majority of the land is owned by foreigners, and I don't agree with that. So I do respect the fact that Thailand doesn't allow foreigners to just own land. I see nothing wrong with that. They only allow you to lease it. At the end of the day, we're all leasing everything we have on earth, because we can't take nothing with us when we die. So in the day, we're all leasing. No matter if you think you're own or not, we're all leasing here what's on earth. But that's just my 2 cents on that. Let's move on to the next one. Next thing is climate. Some people might not like the climate of Thailand, meaning that it is very hot and humid at times, and there's also rainy season. Now, after being there for 2 years and living in, like I said, a few different parts, is climate an issue to me? No, I actually appreciate the year-round warmth or heat. Now, at times, yes, I do not spend a lot of time outside during the day in certain seasons, because it gets very overbearingly hot. Like, especially like, Bangkok and whatnot. Like there's like a couple months ago, like 30 plus people died during the heat because it was just extremely hot. So I will say, stay hydrated and stay out of the sun if you can. So I said, I'm not typically outside that much during the day. I'm typically in my room. I love Bangkok at night, love being outside at night. That's really my favorite time, is when the sun starts to go down. That's when I like to be outside. But yeah, if you're gonna live in Thailand, just know, especially as a foreigner, you will be taking a shower multiple times a day, because like for me, I can't be outside like in Thailand more than like 10, 15 minutes, especially if I'm walking or anything, without sweating through my clothes and having to go home and shower and change. So yes, heat can be an issue, but could it be worse? Yes, you could live in somewhere where they have tornadoes and hurricanes and earthquakes, and luckily Thailand doesn't have that. So for me, I do love the weather, as do many other foreigners who come to Thailand. The next thing I want to talk about, which is a big issue for a lot of people, is pollution. And this is a very real thing, I will say, especially the air in Bangkok and even Chiang Mai during burning season. The air can get very polluted. And so, yes, there are obviously long-term health consequences to living in a polluted area like that. So the air quality can get pretty bad sometimes in Thailand. I haven't really done my research to see what Thailand is doing about the air quality. But yes, it is a problem. Do I really feel it day to day? I will say no, especially like I said, if I'm staying inside. Now, the main time that the air quality hits me is usually when I'm riding on the back of a motorbike or driving on my own, and I'm get behind like a bus or cars, and then that heat and the pollution. That's when you're breathing, that's when you feel like, okay, the air quality is not so great. So yes, it is an issue 100%. If you have breathing problems, then I would say definitely stay out of areas like, the middle of Bangkok, and also areas like I said, Chiang Mai during burning season, because it can get bad. I believe that the air would definitely be better in somewhere like Phuket and even Pattaya. So there are your options. Like I said, if you come to Thailand, you don't have to live in these areas. There are other areas in parts of Thailand you can choose to live in. So the air quality isn't bad everywhere in Thailand, but definitely it can get pretty bad in Bangkok and also in Chiang Mai. Another thing people say not to move to Thailand is cultural adjustment. And I would say, in my opinion, for me, it was easy to adjust, but that's because I'm an open-minded person and I embrace the idea of living in a different culture. I like the respect and ways of the Thai culture overall, so that has never been a problem for me. Obviously, another thing attached to that is like, social adjustments. Yes, that can definitely be a thing. I've talked about that in other videos, especially if you're moving there as a foreigner, if you don't know anybody. It can get lonely at times. I will say to combat that, though, is to find groups to connect in. There are definitely communities in Thailand, some more active than others. But yeah, you're definitely going to want to make some friends in Thailand if you come to move out there and you want to have similar to normal life. Now, for me, when I first moved there, I first came to Thailand, a lot of who I was hanging out with was like other travelers. So it wasn't really a community, because like these are people who were just traveling through Thailand, like backpackers and whatnot, and they're just doing all these activities. And that was cool when I first got there. But now that like I'm not, now that it's my home base, I wanted more stable friendships and relationships. And I will say, after settling, after moving and signing a lease, and then figuring out a routine, it became easier to connect with those who are also living in Thailand long term. So now I have a pretty good base of friends, and I will say that YouTube has been a very big blessing to me as far as meeting people, because it has taken a lot of the legwork out of me meeting people. Because literally, since I put out videos and my videos get seen by a lot of people reach out to me. So literally, a lot of my friends I have today in Thailand came from me putting out content. So I would say that's another benefit to being a content creator, is that literally people reach out to me. And so it makes making friends for me a lot easier than it might be for someone else who's not doing content and who doesn't know anybody else. But like I said, there are Facebook groups and different communities that even content creators host. I'm still in the process of deciding if I want to launch mine or not. If you guys would like me to launch a community, drop it below. And if I get enough people saying they're with it, then I'll go ahead and do it, guys. But yeah, so that's a big thing, is that, yeah, social adjustments can get a little bit difficult at times, especially, like I said, the loneliness aspect with wanting to basically talk to someone and just be around people who are familiar with the things you're familiar with. Nothing wrong with, obviously, like I said, embracing something new. But I will say, as a foreigner living in Thailand, it is going to be harder to connect with Thai people on a deeper level. On a surface level, it's like, yeah, sure. But on the deeper level, yes, that will definitely be a challenge. Obviously, one is language barrier, but even that is just like, you're not Thai. You are what they call a farang, which means foreigner, basically, in Thai. And so you're either Thai or you're a farang. And so with that being said, yeah, the social adjustment as far as being socialized in a deeper level with Thai people is, it's definitely going to be a very, very big challenge, I will say, in my opinion, and also the opinion of a lot of other people. But yeah, there are ways around it, finding people that look like you and other foreigners to hang out with. But on a very basic level, once again, I said, if you learn a language, that can help, but doesn't guarantee that you'll even still find that deeper connection you're desiring amongst Thai people. The last thing that people talk about is economic inequality, in the sense that, yes, prices are lower, but oftentimes foreigners are faced with paying higher prices for things than locals. Now, what is my 2 cents on this issue? Once again, as I mentioned earlier, I was like, okay, yeah, we're coming from countries where our currency value is higher. And so, yes, they're taking advantage of that, as many people do in many other countries, right? And even, for example, if you're in America and you are, let's say you live in a rich neighborhood, and a service provider comes to your house and gives you a quote. They might see the home you're looking in and automatically charge you more because they assume you have more money. So that is just a natural human thing people do no matter where they are. Now, I will say, amongst that specific issue, is that learning the language, once again, and then also understanding prices will help you out when it comes to being overcharged. Because once you know how much things should cost, you do have some negotiation leverage. Because yes, they're going to try to get over on you, especially if they think that you are just someone who just came there, you don't know any better. And many Americans and people from like Western countries will be like, oh wow, this pad thai is only 150 baht, that's only $3. Mind you, a local might only pay 50 baht. Now, you still have the ability to pay 50 baht if you know you're being overcharged. So once you get those prices, either you just don't do business with people who are trying to overcharge you in that aspect, or you just say, you know what, I don't care. It's not a significant enough amount for me to make a problem out of it. And whether it's a 150 baht or 50 baht doesn't make a difference. So sometimes I have that mindset, but also the one thing I will say is that I don't try to play into that too much, because that does drive up prices long term if you continue to pay people more than what the country going rate is, right? So yeah, you do bring up prices if you continue to drive it up. So for me personally, if I know, like, okay, for example, if I'm on the street and I know that, okay, the fresh cut up fruit is usually, let's say, 25 baht, and I go somewhere and they're charging 75 baht or 100 baht, I'm just not buying from them, right? And usually that's the case in areas where there are a lot of tourists, where they charge higher prices. Usually you don't face an issue with inflated prices in local areas. You usually can pay the same price that locals are paying from my experience, from my experience. And like I said, a lot of times you still do have negotiation leverage. Like I said, learn a little bit of Thai and you can, be like, oh, peng mak, which means like very expensive. And then if you want to ask for a discount, you can be like, "Lot noi dai mai?" Lot noi dai mai means, "Can I have a discount?" So a little bit of tips for that. But I just wanted to share with you guys these 10 things because I want to offer you guys some perspective that I guess was a little bit more reasonable and that address some of the negative things, because everything we talk about on this channel normally is like always the things I love about Thailand and positive. And once again, these weren't negative things coming from me. This is once again from like Google and Reddit. But I still felt the need to address it on the channel to give you guys a more balanced perspective for those who actually want to move to Thailand long term. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be putting out more content very soon. See you guys next time. Peace out.